right. Happy New Year to everyone. And I wanted to have this call. We had a call on New Year's Day, and then we're meeting today, the first weekend of the year. And just like we're talking about, sometimes there are things in the previous year that left us discouraged, frustrated, or sometimes even feeling a little bit hopeless. And so I wanted to have this time that we can gather to be inspired, to be motivated, and really just to have some perspective, some peace, some generate some excitement, but also bring clarity to our values, what's important to us, and some action steps that we can do over the year. The thing with motivation we have to remember is motivation is short-lived. Like, there's value in motivation because it is the thing that can get us up, get us out, get us moving, give us some momentum. However, remember that it is short-lived, and just because we don't feel motivated, that doesn't mean that we give up or stop doing the action steps. Sometimes we do things even when we don't feel like it because we know the value that they have, and that the results that they bring outweigh maybe the current discomfort, discouragement, or the demotivation that we have, right? So just want us to understand that starting out, that motivation wanes. So don't rely on motivation, but let's use it just to help us get going in the new year. So we've had a lot of people speak about, on my previous call, speaking about goals that weren't attained, or disappointments, or just feeling like, honestly, just to be transparent, just maybe feeling like a failure because some things they set out for didn't happen. And so I want to remind us that it's not always about those big goals. I have been a person in my life where I've needed big goals because they were the things that motivated me and helped me be consistent. However, I'm in a season of my life where it's just not the case. And so I want to remind you that it's more about who you become in the process than it is about the finish line. Because that finish line is a moment in time. That finish line is temporary. Yes, we can build on that success. Yes, we can capitalize on it and use it. And I've certainly done that. But just remember that these big victories that we sometimes seek and dream about and just get caught up in, that they are short-lived. And the things that remain, it's our character, our mindsets, and the habits that we forge. And that's what our real success is. It's about who we are. It's not about necessarily the circumstances. Yes, our circumstances are valid, and we acknowledge those, but it's who we become in our circumstances, right? It's the person that you are. So take a minute with your notepads, and I want you just to jot down a few things as you think about the last year or even the last couple of years. I want you to celebrate your character, some mindsets that you've developed. And I also want you to think about some habits. Let's think about 2024, and I want you to think about some new habits that you formed. Because what I believe, it's a better place to use our small victories and to use the small changes, the micro habits of the previous year as a springboard for the next year, versus the mindset of looking at our failures and thinking, how do I need to be better this year? How can I not feel like a failure at the end of this year? Let's not have a fear based goal paradigm. Let's have a building, a momentum paradigm where we're building on the good things. What were the positive things, the good things that happened last year? So I'm just going to give you a second to write those down, and I'm going to give anyone an opportunity to share. And here's just also a reminder here. And once again, we have seasons. I've had seasons, but there's a season for chasing moments, and there's a season for being in the moment. And if you look at your year ahead, I believe that we need to be in the moment more than chasing the moments. Why do I say this? So I intentionally exited a Western lifestyle a few years ago, but I work with the Western world, and from the outside look, so I would say I'm a little bit of both, but I've created a Mediterranean lifestyle here in Europe and in Portugal, and also a nomadic travel lifestyle. But as I work with my clients around the world, predominantly in Western cultures, this is the sense that I get from everyone. It's a hustle. There's a hustle culture, being everything for everyone, feeling busy, and just maxed out. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources, not enough energy, not enough sleep, not enough gratitude, right? Not enough recognition for the things that you're doing. There's definitely a state of overwhelm and just stressed out, and it's just hard to escape the stress. And so I believe as we do walk into a reset, a restart, a new year, that we can focus on things like peace, feeling grounded, reigniting purpose or recognizing your purpose, just spending some time in thinking about purpose, and also finding clarity. So what give me 1 second. I just dropped my charger. What I find that I have to do is take time. I probably recommend doing this on a weekly basis, is taking time by yourself with a notepad and just take time to bring clarity into your life, to ask questions like, what do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? What is God speaking to me in the season of my life? What is God doing through me? Who does God want me to help? Like just spending time in prayer, meditation, and question, and just writing things down. What it does is it connects us with ourselves. When we're so busy out there in the world, go, 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 we actually get disconnected from ourselves. And so that's what I mean when I say live in the moment. So I just want to give you an opportunity. Hopefully you've been writing some things down, some things from 2024 that you're building on and bringing into 2025. And yeah, let me know some of those things, some of those reflections as we reflect on a previous time. Let me know some of those reflections and what they're speaking to you. Chat, you can share in the chat or on the mic.
Hi, Bridget, this is Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
I have three things that for 2024 that I had carried over from 2023, and they're things that are helpful for me to even think about carrying into this year. One was to find to develop new relationships. And developing new relationships mean that sometimes you have to leave what was comfortable behind and explore what the possibilities are with new friends, new neighbors, new people in your life. So that benefited me because now my circle has become bigger. And I want to carry that into 2025, um, building relationships. And it doesn't mean that I'm leaving behind old relationships. I'm bringing those that bring value to me at this point in my life, and not feeling guilty for severing some of those that didn't benefit me, but severing those gently, not just cutting people off. The other thing that I want to work on is being outside of my comfort zone because everything, we plan everything, and everything's more that we're planning is what makes us comfortable. But the thing that helps us to grow is to work outside of that comfort zone and and try new things and go new places and meet new people and just expand your mind so that it does benefit you in a positive way. I did leave behind. I tell you, I do struggle a little bit with. I retired 7 years ago, and I have I have spurts of still finding my value. I'm trying to find my place because I was in um, the, the circle, just running, 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 running. And then all of a sudden I said, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to retire. And I thought I'd love it. I hated it. So I did go back to work and stop work again in November of 2023 because what I did find out is that rat race that I was running, I can no longer keep up with it. That is still running and is running hard, it's running fast. And mentally, I'm not going to challenge myself that way. I don't want to waste my brain cells trying to do that, but your body, your mind keeps kind of pulling you back into, okay, everybody else is doing this. Should I be doing it? So that's what that's my reflections for 2024 and the things I want to bring into 2025.
Yeah, those are beautiful. I love those. I love, as traveling the world, definitely out of comfort zone. But as you were talking about just like the new relationships, it's you notice that more when you travel or when you move, like it, nothing wrong with it, but some people live in the same town their whole lives, right? And so you have the same like family, friends, co-worker, like it's like the same people. But when you meet unique people, you bring diversity into your life, and with diversity comes growth. With diversity comes growth. With diversity comes understanding. With diversity comes compassion. And so I think that's something that we all should strive for, is to expand our circles and embrace diversity. I love it. I love it. And sometimes, by the way, Barbara, sometimes there are relationships that you just have to and never look back. So it's okay. That's part of personal growth as well. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to sever relationships that are toxic or not serving us well or holding us back. So you can still do that in love. Okay, let me bring back up. Has this been helpful so far?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just getting started. Just getting started. Here we go. All right. So as we get into
Bridget, I've shared something in the chat about my 2024. So I put something in there.
Yes, that was great. I saw that. Yeah, check out the chat if you haven't done that. And so today my goal has been to just quiet the noise, to give you an opportunity to have some reflection time, some focused time, some time where you can think and just have some peace and quiet. So so we'll bring some things into focus. Our next activity, I'm going to help you with a balance wheel activity. This is one I don't know that Tony Robbins like invented it necessarily, but I know this from Tony Robbins. And so I did a Tony Robbins UPW seminar in 2015. And this activity was life-changing for me. And it's so simple. And so year in and year out, I've continued to do this balance wheel of life activity with teams, with friends, with people that I coach. And because it highlights balance in the areas of our life. It highlights where we maybe need to focus. And, because sometimes when we're trying to create balance, we go out of balance. But then sometimes we forget we have to go back into balance. And for me, I realized in 2015 that an area that was dysfunctional for me and out of balance, but it was a blind spot, was the area of finances and making money because I was, newly married, or I don't know if I was too newly married, but my husband it was just our lifestyle. My husband was the income earner. And even though I earned a little bit of income, I never thought about it. I didn't care about it. We didn't have to really worry about money too much. We didn't have a lot of money, but didn't worry about money. And so I realized this was a blind spot for me, and that it was creating probably some discomfort and imbalance in my, not discomfort, some dysfunction and imbalance in my life. And so I just, pursued to being healthy in that area. And because I think probably before that, it was just an avoidance and a blind spot. And it was, just one little thing just changed the trajectory of my life and brought a lot of reward and impact, influence and gratitude and contribution into my life. Because obviously money is a way, money is a way that we can impact people and be generous and philanthropic and so forth. So, but my goal with the balance wheel activity is to highlight imbalances and also to bring some clarity as we move into a new year. And then thirdly and lastly, it is to simplify, because if we have too many options, or if we have, I feel like sometimes even if our goals are too big, once again, there's a season for big goals. So that might be you listening to this, and that's absolutely fine. But in most cases, we just need simple action steps, and we need to boil down to what's going to have the biggest impact for our life moving forward, right? So that's my goal, simplify it. And the way that I'm doing that is I'm taking what I believe could be the two most important areas of your life that can catapult you for other things. And so I've literally, this has been like my year of research of boiled down to these two impactful things that I believe will have the greatest, like maximal impact over the next year when it comes specifically to your health. So that's where we'll end with. So let's go into your balance wheel. So on your page, you're going to make a circle, and it's the categories are not necessarily going to be these categories, so don't write these ones down on the page. I just wanted you to see the classic balance wheel of life. This would be the one that we did with Tony Robbins. But I've made a couple of edits to this. So maybe this one serves you well, but so for me, the way that I've changed this is, so let's start at, if we look at noon, if this is a clock, let's look at 12 o'clock and look at that next quadrant there. Career, work, or business, that one is fine. The next one, finances, is fine. For health, what I have put there is, or we can call that health and nutrition, because this specifically is for nutritional healing, okay? I believe that health is too big of a topic to have it just in one quadrant, so it's actually going to be in two quadrants. So this one is nutritional healing, the food that you put in your body and looking at the way your body is functioning, okay? The next one is friends and family. What I did is I really put this in one. The love, relationship, friends and family, I put into one quadrant. So just admit someone in here. Okay, there we go. Welcome, Esther. So so friends, family, but we can put that as relationships or as our family. The next quadrant is going to be personal development or personal growth. I used the words personal growth. The next one is going to be fun. I would have that like fun and travel or fun and adventure, but hobbies would be in there as well. The next one is going to be fitness. This one, I believe, needs its own category. It's because it is something that a lot of people miss in their life, and it's an important part of our life because our joints have to be mobile, our muscles have to be strong. It's so important but even for our brains and just getting outside, being active. We really have a modern disease of being sedentary. So we don't want to succumb to that disease. As they get older and they start having joint issues and muscle issues and structural issues, it's really just because it's not because we're getting older, it's just because we're stopped moving. And then the final one is giving. How are we contributing to the world, to the people around us or the world? You could call that philanthropy. You can, contribution or giving. Okay, so you've got 8 categories. Let me review them real quick. Esther, for you, just because I know you just joined us, we're doing an activity. If you get a blank piece of paper, this is your balance wheel of life. We're bringing the categories of our life into balance, or we're going to be identifying things that are out of balance. So to review the 8 categories, we have career, work or business. We have our financial health. We have nutritional healing, our what we put in our body and how our body is functioning. We have our relationships, our friends, family, and our spouse or partner. We have personal development or personal growth. We have fun and travel and hobbies, recreation. We have fitness. And we have giving. So now what I'm going to have you do is see the spokes of the wheel, okay? So those spokes, each spoke, you're going to divide that line into 5. So this is just another example of how a wheel is done, but you see on this wheel, do you see how it's sectioned it into tenths, okay? Well, I'm going to have, just to simplify it, I'm having us do it in fifths. And the reason is because I'm going to have you connect the lines. I'm going to have you score each of these areas, and then you're going to connect the lines. So each spoke, you're just doing a little mark, 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%, okay? And then you're going to take each area. So out of 5, take each area and say, what do you give yourself? How do you rate yourself out of a 5? So what areas What areas are going to get a 5 out of 5? If you look through there, I had someone on the last one, she said, this is telling me that I had too much fun in 2024. Like, that's a good thing. So yeah, so what areas do you rate yourself a 5? What areas do you rate yourself a 4 out of 5? There might be some areas where it's literally a goose egg. You might literally just be 0. Maybe you had a year and you had 0 fun. Didn't take a trip, didn't pursue a hobby. You know, maybe there's an area here that was just a 0, a goose egg. Maybe you didn't focus on your health or your fitness. Maybe you feel sedentary. So yeah, so rate all of your areas. And then what you're going to do, so when you've given it a rating, so let's say your career is a 4 out of 5, then you're going to fill in the 4 out of 5, okay? So you're going to do a line connecting the 4 marks, and you're going to fill it in. So it'll have that kind of look over there. So if this is a wheel, then what you're going to see is if there is an area that didn't score high, that was maybe a 1 out of 5, it's going to keep your wheel from moving forward. Do you see that? So if you're a 5 for everything, your wheel is going to move. It's going to move smoothly. It's going to have momentum. It's going to move you forward. But if you have a couple of areas that you didn't fill in because they're a 1 out of 5, a 2 out of 5, you know, maybe a 3 out of 5, your wheel is not going to move smoothly. You're not going to be going forward with ease. It's going to be a struggle. And so now that wheel, because what happens when you have a flat tire, there could be one part of that wheel that, or you're riding a bicycle, there's one part of that spoke that's damaged or broken. What's that going to end up doing to the other areas? Over time, it's going to wear down on the other areas, and then things are just going to break down, won't they? Okay. So what we're doing is we're identifying the area that needs a little bit of TLC. So now I'll give you an opportunity, any shares, anything that this balance wheel is speaking to you right now. Where are some areas that need to be brought into focus for 2025? And maybe it was something that you didn't expect. And this is what normally happens with this right here, is it can be a blind spot. It can be just something that you've been avoiding, ignoring, not thinking about, which sometimes happens with some weak areas. And that was my example. That was with the finances. It was just a blind spot. I just didn't think about it or wanted to avoid it. Any shares? Esther, just letting you know, so we're just getting started with the balance wheel, and then we are going to, what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to be sharing 2 micro habits, and we're going to go into micro habits and how the next slide will actually more be on some mindset things, but then micro habits, because we want to simplify things so you can have just simple action steps for the new year. And then at the end, we're going to assign one word for 2025, just one word that can anchor us, that we can, during the year, if we think about, oh, like my word is balance. So if you think about the word, it just reminds us about our values, about our intentions, about what's important to us for the year. We also spoke about building on the victories of the previous year, not thinking about the failures or what we didn't accomplish. We're thinking about the things we did accomplish, even the small victories, and we can build on those. And because that way we have momentum going into the new year, we don't feel like we're starting all from scratch, because we have experience, we have lessons learned, we have successes and failures, and our failures actually are more important than our successes for growth. You know that. Our failures are really the best teachers, and we build upon those. We learn from them and we build upon them. Any shares at this point after the
Yeah,
balance wheel?
I'll share. So one of my areas that I really have to look at, and I let it go, is fitness, because I can get busy, and then just making the time to not be sedentary, to not just be immobile and just, driving every place and just walking around the house pretty much it is it or walking at work. So that I've really got to be. I had said 3 days I'd go to the gym and really spent at least an hour and a half, really had a good time. And then that was one thing that I let go, and I know I've got to, for this year, be doing that again. And the other part, that thing is, friends and family, and relationships, and largely around family. I do well with friends, but some family things can get icky. And for me, it's like, stop. And I have a way I can just put a wall up and be like, all right, we're not going to deal that way. And so that's an area that this year I've got to see, and really, God is going to have to help me move in another whole way, to deal,
Mm.
you know,
It's
better.
that's so normal, Joy. I think that's normal for all. Certainly, gosh, we have some people that just grow up in these warm, fuzzy, beautiful, functional families. But I think a lot of people don't. But I think as we get older in life, we value, especially when we've had losses, we
Yeah,
value family more. The
yeah.
losses bring value to our family dynamics. I know even losing, all of I lost two parents in 2021. We all at some point will
Yes.
lose parents, have lost parents, or lose parents, and it is tragic if the loss brings more more division with siblings, but in my case, it brought us closer together, because it's like I no longer could just talk to my dad on the phone or talk to my mom on the phone. So it's like now I talk to my sister once a week on the phone, once or twice a week, and I'm a little bit more connected with my with one of my brothers, and so yeah, so I think it's like the older we get,
Right.
we have more value for family, but sometimes there are those difficult dynamics. So it's really tricky, because sometimes one of those relationships can be toxic as well. And
Thank you. That, and that's exactly
and
what it's
and
like.
that is what it is. And I mean, I honestly, I mean, I had that a bit with my mom, and I just had to have boundaries. So with that, know the boundaries. Boundaries are okay. Not all family dynamics are, sunshine and rainbows. In fact, that's not normally the case. But this is what I would encourage you in this area. Um, if it is difficult relationships for the year, just say, there is one person that I'm going to commit to praying for this year.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks.
That's powerful. That's a powerful one. Any other shares? Shares, questions?
One of the spokes on the wheel that I really need to work on is not making it all about me. Is that giving spokes on this wheel? And in the midst of giving, what I realize is that you can satisfy many of the other spokes on this wheel if you get outside of yourself and give to others. That definitely satisfies the relationships. Um, it's it satisfies the the personal growth. It also satisfies this fun spoke of the will. And so just not making it all about me. And also, depending on where you're giving, you can also satisfy that physical um, piece as well. So for me, giving just encompasses more than it being about me. It's helping others. And in the midst of helping others, um, I get to benefit from the other spokes on the wheel.
Yeah, I love it. That's fantastic insight. Something that the feedback that we had on the last call was also just some interesting insight, where some people said that they had the opposite reaction, and they said that they need to focus on themselves more, because they're like so much is just they don't prioritize themselves, because it's so like there's that focus on making their boss happy, doing things for their kids, their parents, their spouse, just whatever it is, and they don't take time for themselves and their own health, and so they feel like maybe their health or their mental health or their fun or something has been neglected. So yeah, very, very interesting insights. I love that. Okay, let's bring the PowerPoint back up. Okay, so one thing that I typically do in some kind of like goal setting session or some kind of like personal growth session is identifying any limiting beliefs. So we all have limiting beliefs, but sometimes we don't realize we have them because they just become so much part of our narrative, and then what happens is they hold us back. I put some things down here that I identify working with people are some limiting beliefs. Now, one thing, so it's just if you've heard any teaching on limiting beliefs, it's, you turn these beliefs into limitless beliefs, and, we focus on different things. But one thing I want to say here is this doesn't mean that the limiting belief isn't valid. And so I think sometimes we have to look at limiting beliefs, whatever those are. I notice like a lot of times I feel like my clients and my community, their capacity, they just don't have capacity for more because their lives are so maxed out and overwhelmed. Okay, so there's a capacity. I mean, a lot of times that's a mental capacity, an emotional capacity. But that also can be a time capacity, a money capacity, some other things, but just a resource capacity. But the sense of like, I don't have capacity for more. Sometimes a health condition can feel like a limiter, and that can form a narrative for a limiting belief. Not having enough time, not having enough money or resources, and then difficult relationships, or just relationship dynamics. So I believe that these beliefs, like, we should acknowledge them. They are valid, but we don't want to live in them. We don't want to perpetuate the narrative, because we will get stuck. We will feel stuck, and we will limit ourselves. And we call this a fixed mindset, right? Versus a growth mindset. So we don't want to get stuck in that limiting belief or in a narrative that's holding us back, in a narrative of lack, not enough, not good enough, don't have enough, don't have what I need. So we want to find a way out of this stuck place pertaining to this belief. And so I think the first place, one, is to identify whatever the limiting belief is. Identify it. And once you identify it, then you're like, oh, yes, that's holding me back. Okay, how do I change that? And it can be as simply as rewriting it on the page. It could be, I don't have the capacity to do something new, or I don't have the capacity for a new relationship. I don't have the capacity, or I don't have the time to exercise. And what do? It's, well, how do I expand? So you maybe turn it into a question. How do I expand my capacity? How do I find more time? I have the same time that everyone else does. So how do I reorganize my time? And then you can turn that into an empowering belief where you say, I have the time to do the things that are important in my life. I have the time to I have the time to support my energy and my fitness and my strength, right? Just turn the statement around. And I'd also say focus on things like trust. So trust yourself, trust your decisions, trust your needs, trust God, trust love, trust your values. Like focus on trust. Trust yourself. Remember, you've lived in your own body for how many years? 40, 50, 60, 70 years. You've lived in your own body. You know yourself, you know your brain, you know your values. You know how to make the best decisions for you. You know what you need. So that's why I said earlier, just taking time, even once a week, just to write things down to bring clarity. You just need clarity. You just need to quiet the noise. You just need to ask the right questions. You just need to pray. You just need to bring clarity and simplicity into your life. Focus on love. Focus on your values. It's a really good exercise to write down all your values. And then when you make decisions, through the lens of your values. Instead of I can't statements, I can statements. Start something with I can. And then we remember what we have accomplished, how we overcame circumstances in the past, how our greatest fears didn't happen, how we got through, how we made it through the year. What are things that you've overcome? You've overcome financial hardship. That time when you thought you just couldn't go on, guess what? You made it. So remember the overcoming, remember the strength, remember the provision, remember the victories. Remember that you can. Remember how you've done it before. To take any limiting beliefs and change the statement, flip the script, reset it. Because you don't need that limiting belief may have served a purpose in the past, but it no longer serves a purpose. You no longer need it. Discard it. Set a new one. It's amazing what we can accomplish. It's amazing what can lie ahead of us. Think about even just where you are today, and think about how 20 years ago you could never imagine where you are today. Could never imagine. I could never, like 10 years ago, I could never have imagined that I would be living around the world. 10 years ago, I could never have imagined that I would have climbed Kilimanjaro and stood on the roof of Africa. I could never have imagined that I would have finished an Ironman. I could never have imagined that I would earn money online and not have to have a 9 to 5. Just think about the things you could never have imagined. Barbara, maybe 20 years ago, you just your brain couldn't even think about retirement and be able to have the provision for retirement or something. So it's just interesting to.
But you know what? What I find is when I write it down, and I saw this on Oprah years and years ago when she had her show. There was this woman on there, and she'd gone through some significant adversity in her life. And she lived in Africa, and she took her goals and she wrote them down. She put them in a can and she planted them under a tree in Africa. And her life was really hard and difficult. And she was in the part of Africa where there was war. And so she managed to escape the war. She married a man who was very abusive to her. Once she got to the US, she left that man, she raised her children, she went to school, she became a doctor, and all these positive things happened in her life. And one day she had the resources and finances to go back to that tree. She remembered where she had planted those goals in that can under that tree. And she took that list out of that can, and she was able to check off everything that she said that she wanted for her life. It had manifested. And so what I have started doing, and I did this 20 years ago, is I wrote down some possibilities for my life, and I put them in a Bible and I tucked them away. And I forgot about them. And about 2 years ago, I was flipping through some pages on this old Bible and I saw them. And it was amazing that all the things I wanted for my life had manifested. So the truth of writing things down and really leaving it to God and not trying to make it happen, unnaturally, it really does work.
It does. I literally have the same story. And I still have record of it because I've made notes in my phone. I've leaving the US, I had to discard all of my journals, my prayer. That was maybe one of the hardest things to have to discard was prayer journals over the years when I was on mission trips, things like that. But it's the same thing. It just could write stuff down. It could be New Year's resolutions, as much as I'm not about New Year's resolutions, but I've written things down, lots of goals, and then I forget about them, and then I go back, I'm like, oh wait, everything happened. I wonder that about prophecy too, because whenever someone prophesies over my life, I always write it down, and I have a notepad on my phone, and I go back, and it's uncanny how it happens, but it makes me sometimes. Now I do believe in the prophetic, but it also, there's part of me that is I wonder if it's just that brain phenomenon, because it plants seeds in our brain, and then our brain wants to make them happen because our brain works subconsciously.
Right.
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 That's the thing of before you go to sleep, write down, 2 things you want to accomplish the next day. And then for one, it releases you to go to sleep because it's written down. You don't think about them going to sleep and keep you up. But the other part of it is our subconscious now goes before us, and it works working on those things. So it's a really interesting phenomenon. I forgot
I'll start that. I love that idea of writing those 2 things, that it kind of takes it off my mind and the worry and stress of I've got to do this in the morning. Just come back to it in the morning, because I'll know what it is, and 4 more things won't take its place.
I remembered I wrote that, I put this picture in here because I did in 2015, I spoke about that Tony Robbins seminar, and I walked across burning coals, and who would think logically, if you walk across burning coals, you're going to burn your feet. And it's amazing. This is the power of the mind. And he took us through some exercises, which were hours, but then we did this about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we probably have 100% success rate. Everyone walks across these burning coals and they don't burn their feet. And it's crazy, but it's so that was just always a reminder, we can do the impossible. Joy, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, even as you were talking about the prophetic, even as you were talking about writing the 2 things down and then you go to sleep, I see how we're collaborating with God. because God wants us to be involved in the process. And so, even as you said, you get the prophecy, but then you, even hearing it, it's like, it gives you something, yeah, let that come forward. And that's our God. He knows how He's wired us. We're able to do that, right? We have some part to play. And so I love that. Even as you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, you're collaborating. Do your part, Joy. you know.
Love it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Love it. All right, we're ready for our micro habits. So what I've done, so our micro habits, okay, so I don't know if you've heard this term before, micro habits, but it just is, it is what it says. It's mini habits. So versus let's say someone says, I'm going to drink a gallon of water every day. Okay. That might be, I think a small percentage of people could do that for the whole year, but for a lot of people, it's a big habit to bring into your life for someone who doesn't consistently drink water. So what if the micro habit version of that would be have a cup of water by your bed in the morning, like when you wake up, and then you will drink that. So it's like, it's such an easy, small thing, right? But then by the end of the year, if every day you had just one extra glass of water, that has a bigger impact on you versus if you weren't able to do the big habit and you fail, and you don't do it, if that makes sense. Or maybe it's like something you don't think about. So maybe at work and you work on the fourth floor, and instead of taking the elevator every day, you're just going to take the stairs. Micro habit that over time has big reward and big impact. Okay. So you can look at each of those areas, and especially the areas where you identified need some help, you can think about what's one micro habit for that area. So with Joy in the family example, one micro habit, choose one person, commit to praying for them over the year. It's a small thing with big impact. Okay. Maybe it is for the finances. Maybe it's can literally be, I'm just going to take $50 out of my account, every paycheck, and I'm going to put it in a little reserve account and just see what that adds up to the end of the year, right? It's kind of like, and the micro habits are a little bit of the penny doubled versus take the $1 million. So we end up with bigger rewards. So what I'm doing is I want to focus on the two categories that I believe we have to have in place for the other ones. And this is our health. Like obviously I'm a health practitioner. I help people heal their bodies, but there is something, if you are not healthy in your body, it's like you struggle. The other things are more of a struggle. Okay. If you're not strong and confident in your body, then the other things are more of a struggle. So when we can get these, so put a star next to the nutritional healing and the fitness, put a star there, because we got to get these things strong so that the other things can flow better. Or at least that will be my thoughts and my opinion, since this is the focus of my calling in life. So I have two micro habits for you, and I'm gonna Joy, the last one is for you because it is related. It's a fitness one, and so I'm gonna bring my husband on in a minute, and so we're each choosing a micro habit that we're gonna help you with. We are committed to doing this once a month, actually. So we're going to add a micro habit or two every month. So this is our January. We're going to get you started with these, and we're going to build on these because it's just going to be super, super simple things. So I'm going to help you with micro habit number 1. Sandy's going to help you with micro habit number 2 for the fitness. So this is for your nutritional healing. This is for function of your body. So this is something that I've been aware of in my adult life, in my career, but I missed it in my programs, in my plans, because I didn't have the anecdote. Okay. I knew the problem, but I didn't have the anecdote. So it was very hard for me to bring it into my strategies, my programs, and with my clients. So now I have, through my research, I found the solution. And I'm super excited about it. This is so important that I'm literally my word is balance for 2025. And I literally am going to spend 2025 educating and help. My goal is to help like 1,000 people with this, but more so, I'm actually working on global impact, working with doctors, clinics, and nutritionists around the country, around the world, to bring these resources for them so they can help their patients and their clients. Like this is how big this is. And if you go and you look at any of the major educators, the holistic health educators and doctors and researchers, neuroscientists, cardiologists, so they're all going to agree with this. But the reason why we haven't been speaking about it as much is because there hasn't been a good anecdote. By the way, I have webinars on this. I don't have time today to go into this more, but just by working on your omega-3 index, correcting the deficiencies, because 97% of the globe are deficient in omega-3, in DHA and EPA. 97%. 99% of the US are deficient in EPA or DHA. That deficiency is linked to all-cause mortality, chronic inflammation. So it's underlying chronic inflammation that's not identified through traditional lab testing, medical testing. Heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, ADHD, depression, anxiety, obesity, blood pressure, cholesterol, dyslipidemia, insulin resistance, skin issues, hair loss, painful joints, nutrient absorption, cellular detoxification, menopause, hormones, fetal development, immunity, energy, like all this is related to this deficiency. And this is why a lot of people continue to struggle, but we don't have a way to meet this deficiency because our food supply has drastically been affected, and we don't have the nutrient density that we want, that we had 100 years ago. So this is, I mean, this is basically an epidemic. It is a omega deficiency. The problem is, so you would think, oh, well, we have fish oil pills. The problem why I never endorsed fish oil pills, omega supplements, is because I didn't see the research that they were effective. I was skeptical about the fish oil that they would use, and I also knew that they got oxidized, hence the fish burp, the fishy smell, taste, etc. So I was just always skeptical. So I just didn't have a focus. I rather told people to eat wild fish, sardines, grass-fed meats, things like that. However, what I found now testing all my clients now get tested for this. I do have a test available where you can test to see where your levels are at. And in testing my clients, I've seen even through a whole food diet, they're still not meeting the requirements. I was not meeting the requirements. My husband was not meeting the requirements. And hence why I still had these things I was chasing after in my health and in my nutrition, but I just couldn't satisfy the needs of my body until I found a supplement. It's a whole food supplement basically that does not oxidize because they combined it with extra virgin olive polyphenols. Anyway, so there's a whole science and everything about that. But if there's one habit I could tell you to make the biggest impact in your health, it would be to optimize your omega-3 index, so increase your levels in your cell membranes, in your body, in your brain, and that is through this optimized formula of wild omega-3 fish oil combined with the omega polyphenols. I have those resources for you that I'll share with you. So that's one, but it's as simple as literally, I don't know if I have my little, this is not it, but it's like a little shot. Just take a little shot. For me, I take 10, my husband and I take 10 ml a day. Depends on your weight and your needs, what you take. If someone's super deficient, I might, it's dose specific, so I might increase someone's dose. But basically, you want to have this number above an 8%. What I am seeing now with all the tests coming in with my clients, and remember, you know, if they're my clients, they're eating a moderately good diet. I'm seeing them at a 4% or lower. Okay, I've maybe had maybe a couple at 5%, but I'm seeing at a 4% or lower. That is literally puts someone at risk for all-cause mortality, which just means death in general, heart disease, and then chronic inflammation, which includes like autoimmune disease and so forth. Okay, microhabit number one, that's it. Microhabit number two, this is the other one. So I've looked at the things literally that are the easiest things that will have the biggest bang for your buck, that you just focus on those. And then you have, so look at this with exercise. The biggest disservice to exercise is that it got marketed for weight loss. Exercise is not for weight loss. No, no, no. Does it support metabolism? Sure, but we exercise for our hearts, for our circulatory system, for, you know, it's powerful in regulating blood pressure, blood sugar. It's a powerful antidepressant for our bone health, our joint mobility, muscle retention, a good mood. It's anti-cancer because it delivers oxygen to our cells. It supports our hormone balance. I can go on and on. But that's what exercise is for. What happens is it gets associated with weight loss, and then if you don't have weight to lose, you think, oh, well, that's not important, or you don't lose weight when you exercise for a month, and then you think that it's not working, so you quit. And but we want a strong body. We want strength in our muscles. We want mobility in our joints. We want a sharp mind. We want good blood flow. We want good blood sugar. And so this is where exercise comes in. So I have, hey, Sandy, just calling my husband so he can come join us, because I asked him if he could use his background and skills and expertise to serve our community. We're committed to serving our community this year. By the way, we're not charging for the support and these things. But I asked him if he would design, we did this together actually. We designed an exercise program for you to follow that would take the least amount of time. The least amount of time. So time can't be an excuse. We want to, it's a micro habit, but maybe it's a medium. It might be a medium habit, a moderate habit. Okay. And so we have video, he recorded, he's the guy with this. He recorded a couple of videos. He's going to explain those. By the way, my husband is a retired physical therapist. He practiced physical therapy for 18 years. He was a competitive athlete, ran for Wake Forest University, was very good in his day. But we have been obsessed with optimizing our health all our lives. He reads Dr. Joseph Mercola every day. He's in the research. We collaborate, we share research. And I said to him, I was like, I wish that I could, because I don't have any of these big fitness goals anymore. I'm not in that season, but I said, I wish I could just have a 10-minute workout that I could do that works the functional muscles, that helps with longevity, keeps my joints mobile, and helps with the heart and the cardiovascular system. So this is what we designed together, and this is our gift to you. And so let me hand it over to my husband, Sandy.
Hey, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well and having a great new year so far. So like Bridget said.
I'm going to take this out.
Okay, now hopefully everybody can hear me. So I hope everyone's having a great new year and excited about these micro habits. And so the exercises that we've come up with, it's a 4-day cycle of exercises to try and keep it as simple as possible. You're just going to repeat the same 4 thing. You do a 4-day cycle, then just repeat for the next 4 days, etc. So day one, we have active exercises, and so we have a video for this one. And I'll be able to send links out to everybody who wants them. Just connect with me on Facebook, and Bridget will tell you more about that later. But yeah, so the first day is a series of active exercises. So you're actually moving. It's 4 exercises, and we're going to do 20 repetitions of each, or start out wherever you are for a specific exercise. And I have descriptions of a little bit more detail of how to modify these in the YouTube description under the video. But you can PM me with any questions that you've got about it. But yeah, so the first day is a series of 4 exercises, and you just repeat that cycle as many times as you can in 10 minutes. That's it. I do have you do a slight 5-minute walk warm up just to start, so you're not cold. Your muscles aren't cold to start with, but so 10, 15 minutes of exercise. Day 2 is a brisk walk, and if you are able to include stairs or hills, that will be a better workout for your heart and your lungs. So you get to incorporate that along with the rest of your body for walking that day. Day 3 is the second video that we recorded. These are static exercises where you hold positions, as we say in physical therapy, or if you're into yoga, these are poses that you would hold. So it's designed to be a full body workout, but in a static hold position. So we've recorded a video of me doing these holds. And the last hold is a dead hang. And I say this in the description, not everybody has access to a bar that they can hang from. But it's very good for your posture and for your shoulders if you are able to include that. But if not, no big deal. Just do the other 4. So that is 10 minutes as well. You repeat those holds as many times as you can, that cycle of holds as many times as you can in 10 minutes. And then day 4 is another brisk walk. So 10 minutes of walking on days 2 and 4, active exercises on day 1. Static exercises on day 3, and just where I was starting out, I was pretty sore after my first cycle of each. So everybody starts at a different place. There may be some very fit people in here who it's not as much of a workout, but it'll still be good for you regardless. And then other people who are just kind of beginning exercise, their journey there, it will be an amazing workout for them. Just modify and do the best you can. So that's the series of exercises. You just repeat that 4-day cycle over the course of the next month. And as Bridget said, we're going to, or as she will say, we're going to change it up every 1 to 2 months. So we'll modify the exercises, add new exercises to focus on different areas of the body, etc.
So the goal is functional fitness, functional strength. This is with longevity in mind. And as I'm 47, Sandy's 51, turning 52 this year. And so, we're not spring chickens anymore, but we want to still climb big mountains, and we want to stay active and have energy, and we don't want to lose that. Like, we fear losing mobility. And so what do we have to do? We got to keep our weight healthy. So we don't have a lot of pressure on joints, but we got to keep our bones. So one of the principles here, like this, especially, I've spent a lot of time this year working on peri and post-menopause. That's been a focus of mine this year. That's one of the reasons why I found the Balance Oil that is a solution for menopause, by the way, and for inflammation, but is bone health. And so we need impactful activities. And so that's like one of the components here, is like the jumping. But these things can be modified. So that's what Sandy is going to be a resource for. If there's something that is, you watch the video and you're like, oh, I can't do that because I have a knee injury or a hip injury, something, then just send him a little message and just say, hey, do you have a modification for this? We've already been doing that for some people. Or if you just have a question about it, he's going to be available. We want people to feel supported. There's nothing worse than than just not feeling like you have a community around you to connect with and not having support or someone to reach out to. So we're like, we'll fill that gap for you. We'll be your people, you know, me and with my nutrition expertise, Sandy with his fitness expertise, and we just want to be just a text message away. Okay, so we're here for you, and we're here to support you. Like I said, we can modify things based on your needs. And now, obviously, you know, Sandy, yes, Sandy has a background in physical therapy, but there might be some cases where he literally can't be your physical therapist because he's not with you, and he's actually technically not even licensed anymore. So he might say, you need to check with your doctor on this, or you might need to go to physical therapy for this, or see a chiropractor for this, right? So he might need to refer out in certain situations. We certainly can't like work any miracles necessarily. But anything else that you want to share on that?
No, good to go.
Okay, cool. Thank you, my love. So, and then just last, before remember, we're coming to your word, okay? And I'll take any questions in a second, but just lastly, I guess just the final slide, just so you can see how we would like to support you in the new year, if you need the support. So connect with Sandy, just send Sandy Spurgeon, send him a friend request on Facebook. And then if you haven't, then send him a personal message, and then he will send you the links. There are 2 links to the videos. Workout support for the nutrition part. If you would like to request a balance test, once again, I didn't have time to go too much into the details of these things, but I do have webinars on them. So if you would like the webinars, just send me a message, just say, can I have more information on the balance test? But that test is going to look at fatty acids in the cell membranes. And we're looking at 6:3 ratio for inflammation. We're looking at omega-3 index for all those things that I mentioned earlier. And there is a test that you can do through me. I've partnered with a company out of it's one of the Nordic countries. I get confused, but like Sweden and Norway. There's a lab in Norway, and I think the company is Sweden. But I can help you with that. With that test comes the supplement, by the way. So you get the test, I'll just share here, is $109. You get a free, this is in the US, so maybe I shouldn't share this because it's different market to market, but you get in the US, you get a free oil, the supplement, the anecdote with that, the balance oil. And then you actually get if you're on a subscription, you get a second free test. So you get to test pre and post. And I don't think Anne is on here. Anne has done the test. I don't know if she has her results back yet, but I know Anne has done the test and is using the balance oil. If you need, as always, if you need anything else, something specific with your health, any solutions, please, you can always schedule a call with me. I'm available for you for that. I'm happy to support you in any way that I can. We will have a monthly microhabit call, so we'll continue to support you for the year, for the 2025. And then if you are not part of any of our Facebook communities, whether that be the Big Nutrition group or any of the other groups, just make sure that I add you to those communities so you can continue to get resources, motivation, events, and so forth. All right. So fantastic. I will open it up again to any feedback, any questions, any comments, and I would love to hear your word for the year. Like I said, mine is balance. If you have a word that you've come up with for 2025, then let us know. You can share in the comments or you can come on the mic.
I wanted to ask you, Bridget, the test, how do I get that information? I'd like to do the test, so if you can
Fantastic.
send.
I will send you a link.
Okay.
Facebook Messenger, I will send you a link, and that because then you're linked to me, and I will be the person to review your results. I will oversee everything, so you get me as your functional nutritionist.
Okay, great.
With that as well. I love it. I do have a partnership with them, so it's not much, but I get a little bit of a kickback and for the referral. So
Great.
you're doing it through the company, but you're linked with me.
Great. Love it. Love it.
We're excited about the partnership there, and they have some other fantastic supplements and things as well. But this is a great start. So I will send you the link. You can order it. The test is an at-home test. It is a blood spot test. So it gets, oh, wait a second, Joy, where are you, in New Jersey or New York?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, fantastic. New York, they don't have the test available. So like Sylvia, for example, she had to get it sent to someone outside of the state.
Oh, no, I'm in New Jersey. Praise
Yeah, okay.
God.
So you're fine. So it'll be sent to your address. You will just prick your finger, take a little bit of blood. It's a blood spot, put it in the envelope, prepaid envelope, ships to Florida. And then they batch ship it to the lab in Norway, and they will upload your results to a portal. The only thing, because of the lab being in Northern Europe, is it takes a little bit of time, but they'll upload it. And then it's anonymous, but you'll get those results, and then you can share them with me, and I will review. It lets me know about your nutrition. It lets me know about how you're responding to your fat intake, and then we can specifically target some things in your health.
I'm excited. This is my 2025 is off to a great start. I love it. Love it.
I'm super excited too. All right. So any other questions?
I have a question about the videos. I just friended Sandy, and are the videos on his Facebook page, or do I have to request those through Messenger?
Yeah, he will. Yeah, just send him a private message and just ask, because they're YouTube links. Probably we should make them. We just are so used to, we post everything privately on YouTube. I don't know. I'm just that. So we probably could make those links public, but there's 2 links that he will send you if you just send him a little message.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so Anne said she doesn't have her results back, and intentional. Great, Anne, I love it. Intentional. And that's a good anchor. These words are an anchor. So it's like if you have that word intentional written down, like put it on your refrigerator or on your mirror or in your car or something, and then every day you're reminded. Intentional. I live intentionally. I live intentionally. Today I am intentional. Yes.
I love that word. I think I want to steal it.
You can have that. Share Anne's word.
I'm gonna share your word, Anne, because the word I had written, and I thought, wow, this is a big word, and it was results. And I'm like alphabet soup. I like to put a lot of stuff in the soup, but then I'm not really getting as many results as the stuff that I put in the soup. So I like intentional. So I'm switching my word.
I'm going to use the word Bridget gave, glorious. I just want to radiate throughout 25, radiate, emanate, glory. And that's my word, glorious.
I love that. I might steal that.
You're becoming a stealer.
Yes, my new word is thief.
How about glorious intention?
My goodness,
I love it.
Yes. That's my word. Glory. When you said it, I'm like, yeah. Glorious.
Oh, well, good. Has this been helpful?
Oh my gosh, so helpful. You are spot on, lady. God has prepared you for this time. And I just love how he uses you. Effort. I know a lot of work went into it, but when you bring forth this stuff, it's like so effortless. It just draws you in like, yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you.
Most welcome. My honor and privilege. I love you all so much. We have such a beautiful community. I'm honored that I get to pour into the community. That's our goal for 2025. I love that I can bring my husband in so you can get to see some of his gifts and see us working together. So we will have more to come, but some simple starts.
Great.
One shot of balance all a day. Take the test. I like the test because then you have a target because it's built-in accountability because you're going to take a second test. And
Yes,
so
yes.
you've got to like do the little habit to get the results that your body needs on the second test. So this will be really super exciting. What I am also doing is I am gathering data from all of my clients. The company has data knowing because, for example, 97% are out of balance. By the way, if you're in balance, they give you your money back because then you don't need the oil. You're getting it from your diet. So if your results are good, you get your money back. But 97% of people are out of balance, out of range. And so, but when you take the balance oil daily, 95% get back in balance.
Good.
95% of second tests are back within range. So it's a 3-to-1 if we're looking at the omega 6-to-3 ratio. And so it's super exciting. But I am gathering my own data because I want to see how people's diets impact their omega ratios and numbers. Whether it be a vegan diet, a whole food diet, a paleo diet, a carnivore diet, whatever it is, a standard American diet, and also certain medications. I have a theory. There's one medication I have a theory about. And so, and then the other one I want to look at is like health conditions, like how, if there are any, I'm looking for correlations basically. So,
Yes, yes.
so the more people that I can have participate, the more data that I'm going to be able to, and this just helps me clinically. So this helps me help more people heal when the more information I know. So it's, that's the other focus of mine, this test-based nutrition, right? It's like, more testing, less guessing, as previous doctor I worked with used to say. So thank you for your feedback, everyone. Love you guys so much.
Before you go, last question. So once a month we'll have this call, you're saying? Once a month. So
Yes.
we'll see you put that information out there. Okay.
Yes.
I'll be looking for that. All right.
Yes. The other ones will be way shorter because it'll be more on the micro habits and it'll just be and I already have a list of micro habits, but once again, I don't want to overwhelm people and I have, and these include some new research and new things from my I'm building on my 2024 research and now it's the application of that research. So I have like one of the habits, super exciting. It's super anti-cancer. And so we might do that in February. We'll see. So anyway, okay, everyone, have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Lots of love, and we will connect again in a month.
We will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.